Commission. Are we recording?
Alright, so I'm gonna say
Okay, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Green Bay Public Arts Commission. Today is Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018. It is 8 o'clock. We are in room 310 in City Hall. So I'll do a quick roll call here. Ken Tutchison, I'm here. Vice Chair Alex Zacharias.
Here.
Alderman Randy Scannell.
Present.
Matt Buchanan.
Here.
And Tiffany Bowles.
Here.
Also, our liaisons are absent at this moment. Stacy Minks, Beth Lemke, and Lee Clemens. So can I get a motion to approve our agenda for today?
Motion. Well, don't we want to amend the agenda before we approve it?
That, yes, so,
I'd like to make a motion to move in new business, item 4 to make it 1, and item 3 to make it 2.
And I second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. We'll go ahead with that new agenda then. Can I make a motion to approve this new amended agenda?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 25th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. We'll start with item number 1 in regular business, which now is consideration with possible action to increase the work hours of the public arts coordinator to better engage the arts community, create additional programs, and commence fundraising.
Yes. All right, that'd be me.
Okay, Cheryl
So
Wig.
you're aware of all the work that, we're all doing with arts. One of the discussions we had in the neighborhood division was trying to maybe start using some block grant dollars towards more art in the community.
Okay.
We don't have a person to do that, of course. We want to have someone else to do that. The position that Laura's in right now is 20 hours a week, and we don't feel that that's enough time to do that kind of work, to do more outreach, more rotating arts programs. So what we'd like to do is make a request to up those hours to 30 a week for this position. Now, you guys are kind of light on your budget, I'm aware of that, and I'm willing to go to the redevelopment authority and ask for an additional $15,000 of block grant dollars to subsidize this position, which would allow her then to do some work with us in the downtown neighborhoods. That needs to go to the redevelopment authority in June, and then this also would be a personnel change that would need to go to the personnel committee and to the city council. I don't think it'll be an issue because the money's not coming off of the levy. It's block grant dollars and of course fundraising dollars you guys are doing. I need to make it really clear though, we need to do some fundraising for public arts.
Yep.
We've got to get some more money in the private side for this position because this is only kind of a stopgap at this point. And the block grant funds are only obligated for 1 year. So, but I think that would be good to increase those hours on this position. I think it will allow us to do more. It'll also allow this position to do more fundraising, maybe spend some more time on getting that cabinet together and do that kind of work. So I guess I'm asking your approval to go through that process to change that position to 30 hours.
Okay. Also, I believe with this change, Laura would be eligible for health care benefits also.
Yep, we're looking at benefits in here, and this is a position that will be posted. It will need to be posted, and it'll go through personnel through the regular process. Right now, all city positions went through a process last year, 2 years ago, to define where we should be on a salary level. This position did not at the time. So HR is asking our consultant, Carlson Detman, to look at this position to see where it should be placed in the salary range. I think we're pretty good, where we are, but these numbers may be tweaked a bit once we get through that personnel process, so.
Okay. Okay, Laura, do you have anything else to mention on this, or?
I just wanted to say that the budget that I included in the attachments is estimate. So going forward, it'll have to be redrafted, like Cheryl said, based on if there's any tweaking of the wage or anything like that. So this is just a kind of guideline for right now. It's not actual.
Okay. Discussion?
So, we need a motion this? Or?
Motion, I'd
First,
say motion to approve.
yeah, any other discussion on this at all? Otherwise, feel free to make a motion. Alex.
I motion the $15,000 increase in for Laura's pay. Is that correct, or?
Well,
You know, but.
Or not
you
the
know what?
15,000?
I would say just, I would suggest a motion that would increase the hours of this position to be 30 hours a week.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good, motion
Thank you.
carries.
I'll keep you updated.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, item number
Congratulations,
two.
Laura.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl.
There's still a lot of hoops to go through yet.
Yeah, that's true, but we gotta
One
get
settle
started.
down.
Okay, good. Item number two is discussion with possible action on Ned Kane's rotating art program application. So Ned Kane is here, so I'd like a motion to open the floor.
A motion to open the floor.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good, the floor is open. Ned? Good morning, sir. Have a seat.
So,
Lean back.
this is the proposed piece. Now, it probably won't look anything like this when I get done, but the largest disc would probably be about 4 feet in diameter,
Okay.
and then they'd go down from there. The thickness of the disc would probably be somewhere in the 1 to 2 inch range. And the way it works is, obviously, the wind blows it
Awesome.
around.
Yeah.
This is the topper from my mailbox, so it's a little crude, but.
No, it looks great.
So that's the idea. So when I applied, can I go through this now?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, I hollered at Kent for like an hour about applying, going through your application form and stuff. It turns out most of it was my fault. I'm not real computer savvy kind of guy. So the first time, my program crashed when I filled out the form. So I redid it again. That time I got a warning that said my browser wasn't proper,
Adequate.
or that I had used some language that was spam, or that I didn't fill in all the boxes. Well, it turns out that you've got a box on the bottom that says I'm a robot, and I thought that was protecting me, not you. So I didn't check that box, and it didn't say required, but I filled in all the other fields, I didn't check that box. So the third time through, I checked that box, I identified, 3 pictures of taxi cabs or something,
Right.
and it went through. But then none of my pictures came through. So that was the trouble I had with your
Okay.
situation.
And I believe your pictures were in standard JPEG format, was that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so, and Ned is not the first person to bring the difficulty of the application process to our attention. So, good morning, Stacy. It's okay, have a seat. So, first of all, let's talk about Ned's piece. So we all have the pictures of it, we all see the mock-up right here. Ned, can you throw that right on the table, your mock-up, or your small scale version? So Ned's proposing and putting this, making it quite a bit larger, and then having it at one of our locations. What is the discussion we have on this piece?
Does it have a name?
Wind fishing.
Wood fishing. Cool.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's totally awesome.
Do you have
I
a
like it.
preferred location? Have you seen the locations for?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, so would this be mounted just to the ground, just like this,
No.
or would it be on pedestal,
Looks like it's on a pedestal.
like raised up at all,
No.
or?
I think it'd be close to the ground. I think right now I'm started on this project, so I'm going to build it regardless.
Yeah.
But right now, this stem is probably, like that tall.
Okay,
So it's going to be ground level.
okay. And people are intended to be able to touch it and,
Push it,
okay,
whatever.
yeah,
And I think the way something like this works, if you watch it, it'll come back to this point now because your table is off a little bit. Either that or my bearing's off a little bit. But it'll direct itself into the wind and stay. I mean, it's not gonna go whipping around 100 miles an hour, is what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
yeah,
It's gonna be a fairly low revolution kind of thing.
Okay,
So the stronger the wind, the more it'll just point
Right.
rather than go around. I mean,
Right.
really what it needs is like light gusts, you know,
Yeah.
just to kind of get it
to make it mobile,
yeah.
okay.
So it gives wind direction.
It does, yeah, kind of points into the
If you could
wind.
figure it out.
Cool. Well, I like it a lot.
And, you know, I don't expect you guys to make up your mind today either. I mean, you know, you can wait until the thing's done and then see the actual full-size piece or whatever.
Okay, I think though, based on, I mean, you came with a really nice maquette here.
Yeah.
So, assuming that you're saying the largest circle will have a diameter of
4 feet.
4 feet. Assuming that it looks the same as this, it rotates the same, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a
the
motion to
piece?
approve, yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Very good, motion carries.
Now, do we want to figure out a spot right away too?
No, we'll figure out those, we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
So, well, we're still waiting on the pads, they're gonna be poured hopefully this month. Once they're pad, we'll assess the pads and then we'll evaluate. We already have 3 pieces that we've passed. You're the 4th, and we have 5 pads going in. So it will go up. And do you have a timeline on this piece, the fabrication?
No,
Potential?
it's gonna take a couple months anyway, I
Sure.
would think.
And have you started yet?
Yeah,
Oh, great, okay. So we're not talking like fall or anything like that?
no.
Okay. I know, fitting it down is not a good thing to do, I know. Very good,
So we say summerish?
Summerish.
I think it's awesome, I'm looking forward to it.
You know, spring is garden planting and all that sort of stuff too, so.
Yeah,
But it shouldn't take long, you know, once I get at it, but
okay. And are you cutting it out of just thick aluminum material?
sheet.
Sheet, okay, and then.
1/8 inch sheet.
Okay, I gotcha.
So this would be 1/8 inch sheet material, which this is.
Yeah.
But that would be the whole surface, and then there'll be
So it'd be
framing
hollow.
on the inside.
Yeah.
It'll be hollow, yeah.
Hollow, yeah, cool.
So it probably won't weigh more than, I don't know, 200,
Yeah,
250,
so it's
something
not
like that.
gonna be like ridiculous to move around or anything
Yeah,
like that.
no.
Okay, great.
And as far as the base goes, I mean, it won't look like this, it won't be a big circle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably have a spider coming out of that bottom
Right.
tube
I gotcha.
in steel. And then, the way I understand you're trying to fasten everything down is with drilling the holes and the bolts.
That's right.
So what size bolts are you using?
Well, we're using, that's up to you. So we're using threaded rod and epoxy
Okay.
through the 6-inch by 6-foot slabs. So we don't want you to pass all the way through that 6-inch, you're not gonna need to. But you'll drill a hole diameter however you feel adequate, and then epoxy and threaded rod it in. So that's up to you.
How,
Great.
how do you make designs on the faces?
This is ground.
Okay.
So that's.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, 4-inch angle grinder.
Yeah, cool. Any other questions for Ned?
No?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Good.
Thanks a lot, Ned.
So I still have that sculpture thing to talk about too.
Oh,
Sculpture tour.
yes. So,
I don't
one
know
of
if you
the,
want to do that now or not.
yes, definitely. So attached to, through one of our conversations that I had, he has been investigating another Rotating Arts event. It's in Eau Claire, right, Ned?
Oh, Claire, yeah.
Yeah, and he wanted to just give us an update on that, so that potentially we could use some of the methods that they're implementing out there. So, yes, please.
Not only methods, but what Eau Claire belongs to a group of cities. So they put on this art tour every year. They rotate out all the pieces. There's probably, I don't know, 35 pieces on the grounds. They go up and down their main street with them. Their pads are like maybe this square, 3 by 3. They have an X of steel in them, embedded in the concrete. So they set down the sculpture, they weld it in place. And that's that.
Okay.
They have a city crew that goes along, and the way it works with, I think there's 5 cities, maybe 4. But it's Sioux City, Iowa, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, then it goes to someplace in Dakota, like Fargo or someplace.
Wow.
Then it goes to Canada, and then it comes back.
Wow.
And the artists don't get involved. Once you set your piece the first time, they move them throughout
Okay.
the cities.
Mhm.
You know, so your piece is gone for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh.
So this is their brochure. I can give this to you, Kim. But what it does is it shows the location of all the art. This is last year's, so you can see what the caliber of the artwork is. And it's pretty good, I think.
So they make a map like this per city?
Yeah,
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 okay.
this is Eau Claire's.
Yeah.
So you can take a look at it. But they have the brochures, they send out postcards,
That's good.
you know, the typical art postcards. This is one of the artists that was there this year. It's when pigs fly the right way. So it's a pig flying a scale model of the right airplane.
Right.
So that's half
It's
size,
yours.
so it's huge. You know,
I like
it's a
it.
big piece.
Yeah,
The other one's a
hog
dinosaur, which is
wild
pretty
over it.
crappy.
yeah.
But the other thing that Eau Claire does, and I've got these forms, I should cross my name off on these, but this I'll also leave with you. So they insure the art while it's up against damage, you know, liability, that kind of stuff. They also pay $500 when you deliver the piece and $500 when you pick it up, so that's $1,000. Plus, we had 2 nights in a Hilton, so you go the night before, they have a reception. The next day you set up at 5 in the morning, they run from 5 to like 7 to get up
That's
35
cool.
pieces in
Yeah.
2-3 hours.
Wow.
They've got a guy that actually goes to Sioux City voluntarily. He's a moving van guy. He picks up the sculptures that they want from Sioux City. He brings them to Eau Claire and they just go down the street with the truck. They unload them, the city workers unload them. They got about 15 guys with shovels that'll dig in the pads if they have to, or
Right.
do whatever they have to do with the pads. They use a bobcat to lift the sculptures and set them in place and then weld them down. I mean, it's really a slick operation.
So the pads, so you explained the pads a little bit, but it's like a concrete slab and then there's like a piece of metal
have-
plate fastened?
They must have, no, it's embedded right in the concrete.
It is,
It's an
okay.
X in the concrete
Okay.
across the corners.
Okay,
So regardless how you put the piece down, you
That's
can
it,
just
right.
tack it down to that steel.
right.
So
So does do the artists get an opportunity to sell their work, or?
it's all for sale.
Oh,
They take a commission, of course, on the art. I don't know what the commission is. It's probably in here. They also do,
So every one of these pieces is rotated around to all those places?
if the next city wants them, they pick them up.
I see, okay.
So you kind of look it over?
So anyway, while I'm on that subject, before I forget, I've got her name and, here. This Julie Pangalo is the executive director, Sculpture Art Tour in Eau
This
Claire.
is the woman, okay.
That's the address and her phone number and her office
Okay.
number and all that sort of stuff.
I talked to Julie
So-
once, actually, about a year ago, just because I came upon it, but I didn't actually realize what scale this was at.
I would say, I didn't know it rotated from city
Yeah.
to city.
So, Ned, are you implying that potentially Green Bay could get involved in this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
talked to Julie about it and she volunteered. She said, who are you talking to, you know, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I said, I don't know, you
Yeah.
know. She said, well, I'd be more than willing to come and give a presentation.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, you probably have to put her up for a night in a hotel
Mhm.
or at somebody's house or something.
I got a
Sure.
basement.
But, you know,
That's a great idea.
they spend
Yeah.
about, it costs about $57,000 to put the show on.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
How are they funded?
They're a nonprofit, you know,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
They do fundraising
They
and.
do fundraising
Does it
and all
cost
that.
anything to apply as an artist?
It cost, yeah, it did. I don't know how much. It wasn't much.
Yeah, so they're not relying on that. They're probably fundraising and doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
And they have city sponsors too, or, you know, businesses that sponsor, because one of the things they do is, Best of Show, they have boxes, ballot boxes on all the telephone poles, so people vote.
Hmm.
So Best of Show gets $1,000
okay.
in bronze, and Best of Show and other materials gets $1,000, so that's $2,000 out.
Yeah.
The People's Choice Award is purchased and becomes part of the city's collection.
Oh, okay. So they
And
do a
that's
people
up to
choice.
15,000 that they pay for that.
Okay,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah,
So, what was the other question I had? How long do the sculptures stay in each city?
a year.
1 year, one
Yeah.
whole year, calendar
Yeah,
year,
they'll-
okay.
They'll close out the voting, I think in September,
Okay,
but then it's the following year you go pick it up.
cool, okay.
I think. I'm not sure about that either. I'm
Um,
sure they'll tell me when I have to come and get it.
great. Oh, discussion on this idea, and then brings.
Well, I'd like to
Another
hear a
sheet.
presentation for sure, you know,
Okay.
definitely worth looking into.
Yeah. And she's, you know, she's got all the numbers and all the facts and all that sort of stuff too.
Okay,
So she would be much better. That's why I said, you know, I didn't think she had to come for this meeting, but
right,
if you
right.
guys are really seriously interested in it, I'd talk to her, get her over here and set up a meeting or whatever
Okay.
you have to do.
Well, we can learn more about how their system works and then
Totally.
maybe we can.
Yeah.
I mean, infrastructurally, it
Right.
would be an advantage, but also potentially to get involved, I think would be really great.
Because you're talking about, I think 35 sculptures went up this year.
Yeah. And
So
these are,
that's, you know, the main drag here, Broadway, you know, whatever, you know.
these aren't permanent, pads that we're talking about, we're talking about just heavy pieces.
I think some of them they leave in place,
Okay.
because some of them were there, you know, when we started setting up,
Yeah.
I saw some that were already there. But if they're gonna put something someplace special, then the city workers dig little square holes, drop the pad,
Okay,
put it in, weld it down.
Okay.
Truck comes along and welds them down right after they set them.
sure, okay. It would also be, so when we contact her, it'd be also good to hear from their public works director, like in, like, their level of commitment and the way they look at the situation.
They must have had close to 15 guys,
Yeah,
you know, and one of the, did I give you a disclaimer?
it's good to know what other communities are doing.
Here's their disclaimer, and one of the interesting things, I forever release sculpture tour of Claire of any parent, subsidiary, or affiliate organization, and goes on to say,
They have
no artist is,
responsibility.
it's a dangerous business and no artist is gonna hold them liable.
Okay, yep,
So forever.
yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. And I
So-
think most artists are completely willing to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know being an artist was a dangerous business.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know,
It's getting up in the morning.
the other thing, their Chamber of Commerce, which was kinda nice, the 2 nights we were at the Hilton, there's a little bag, says Eau Claire. You know, it's
Swag
got
bag?
their-
Yep.
Yeah, it's got their thing on it. Had a bottle of wine, 2 silicone wine glasses, you know, soft
Oh, sure.
silicone wine glasses.
Yeah.
A little blanket with the Eau Claire emblem on it.
Yeah.
And the carry-all bag. So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Go get drunk in our parks.
Yeah. So that's that.
I guess I just have one
Thank you.
question before you head out. So I'm curious what this does for,
Thank you.
to support the local artists. Are we bringing in a lot of art from other
Mm.
communities, it sounds like? I mean, I love the idea of bringing more art into the community, but, you know, a part of our mission is
Trying to
supporting
protect
the
the local
area
artists, are you?
artists. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
The thing, you know, obviously they're coming from the Dakotas, from Sioux
Sure.
City, you know, from Iowa. So I mean, the stuff is national level, I guess.
But
is
we'd
what
be
you'd
able,
say.
we
Are you
could,
protecting the local artists? Local artists, I mean,
we can apply,
yeah,
yeah. So maybe we'd have, if it, like down the road saying we cross all of our Ts and we, you know, become part of the sculpture tour, maybe we could like do our own Green Bay call or something like that to, local artists.
And I think this helps local artists because their art, any local artist that gets in, their art's gonna go all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, that really,
and right now you're talking about what, 5 pads that you're pouring or something?
We're pouring 5 pads, yeah. We were going to be pouring 10 by the end of hopefully the year.
Yeah. And the thing with 5 pads is it's not enough. You know, I mean,
Right.
you need a lot of art
Mhm.
to hit people over the head with to get
Yeah.
Change the
to
identity,
get something
yeah.
going. You know?
Okay. Great.
All right.
Any other questions for Ned before we close the floor?
Can I say something?
Absolutely. Please, oh,
Hi,
actually,
everybody.
please state your name and your address.
I am Michelle Zala-Winter, 2611 East Shore Drive, friend of Art and Ned and Steve and Kent. involved in the arts in Green Bay for the last 28 years. One of the things that I think it'll be interesting to hear from the lady from Eau Claire is the tourism dollars that this brings in. Because there are people that go from city to city and travel to see this kind of thing because it's not normal.
Right.
You know, it's not a regular part of what we normally see. So the tourism dollars that it brings in is also a big draw. So I think that'll be interesting.
Actually, she gave
That's
us
a great
all that
point.
information, and I'm probably misleading you because I don't remember figures very well. But I think it's like $3 million they think they're making.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Ned, can you also state your name and address? I didn't have you do that for the.
Ned Kane, 5534 County Road, PP, Deep Ear, Wisconsin.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you gave us some really good food to chew on
Something to
here.
think about.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ned.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to close the floor?
Motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Awesome. Okay. So, floor is closed, but before we move on to the next agenda item.
This could actually help with fundraising if we.
Sure, if we can tie it in, I think we should at least ask Julie to come, to invite Julie to our either next meeting or a meeting, in July, to present on the sculpture tour and how Green Bay might be able to work with it in whatever way. Okay, do we should we make a motion on that, or should we just go ahead? No, you can just do it.
There's not an agenda item, so I mean, you'd have to put it on.
Okay, good. Cool.
Next time.
Any other questions or comments?
No, and I think if we do get this, we want to get like Brad Tolan of Brown County Tourism,
Mm-hmm.
behind that and
Yeah,
promoting that, and I think this could be,
could just leverage what we're already doing.
yeah.
I'm certainly open to it, but just to kind of reiterate, I do have some hesitation with how this might look to Green Bay artists. Are we dedicating a lot of our funds, $57,000, to bring outside art into the community?
Yeah, I wonder, like, how much we'd actually have to pay into this in order to be a part of it, so, yeah, these are good questions that we need to ask. Thank you for bringing those
Yeah, I'm
those questions.
totally open to
I think
it.
just the
This
fact
is-
that we're getting awareness for potential collaboration, that people want to work with us, I think that's
Yeah,
a big step.
So- definitely.
And
So,
we as artists, we steal from other people's ideas, so we'll just steal whatever they got.
that's right. So, we'll bring
That's why it's so dangerous.
Yes.
yeah, okay, so we'll send an invite and we'll weigh the pros and cons after we hear the her presentation. Cool. Item number 4 is referring back to March 28th, 2018 meeting, presentation of the Green Bay Public Arts Commission draft application for the Green Bay Packers Foundation grant. Okay, so.
Didn't we missed number 1,
The original.
which would be 3.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I revoked that last statement.
I'll second that.
So, item number 3, referring back to the May 23rd, 2018 meeting, discussion with possible action on reevaluating the annual grants program funding match. Okay, so we brought this up last time. So Laura?
I'm having difficulties getting my attachments up, but in the attachments, I included kind of a pros, cons list for altering our annual grant program amount. And I know we had discussed that I was gonna draft up a budget for that also, but considering item number 4, original number 4, and changing my hours, that's altering the budget already. But based off of kind of the pros and cons that I listed, I think where we're at right now, it doesn't behoove us to alter our programming. I think with this extra time now that I'm gonna have, we'll be able to promote our programs better, actually get more people engaged with what we currently have. And then down the road, a fantastic goal for us would be to increase these grant amounts that we have. Or like we said, having this amount for our current grants and then having one big freebie grant or whatever. But I think for right now, keeping the amount where it's at, it's gonna help spread our dollars a little bit further than what it would be if we increased it. It gives us the potential to fund more projects rather than funneling all of our money into just like a few main projects. And it just helps build artist capacity to go out. And I think the other thing, sorry, I'm jumping around. The other thing that I want to form with your help, Matt, is coming up with a list of other grants or dollars from the city or other opportunities artists can use to help fund that other half, so it isn't quite as daunting. And Kent had mentioned too that artists can list in-kind contributions for their work also as a match.
Do we need to notify, before I forget, IT about some of the problems with filling out the forms and stuff, or?
Oh, yeah. So I'll bring that up in my coordinator's report, or my chairman's report. I'll make a note of that. Yes, but, so let's talk, so do we want to maintain what we're doing right now with the 50% match, with those things that Laura just discussed, or do we want to go ahead and change that, like we had talked about last time?
I think maybe it might be best to have a little bit more effort towards a strong marketing campaign for this program, and also doing more to remove those barriers for the matches you had suggested. Let's make it really easy for these artists to identify other grant sources to count towards match. If we can remove those barriers, do more for marketing, let's do that for a year or so and evaluate where we are, and then if we're still not shelling the dollars out like we'd like, then maybe we reevaluate and consider changing our match.
Okay. Other thoughts?
I'm a little sad that, but hearing their insight, it makes sense to do it that way, to be more conservative, especially if we're increasing her hours. She's really good at meeting with the different artists, and it'll probably be a good route to go.
Okay.
I have to agree, we need to put a good effort in marketing, because people still don't really know us yet, because we're new, but I think we need to get ourselves out there.
Okay.
Be more creative. Real quickly, one thing that popped in my head is, for film festivals, we have a youth section. So, just to get more people, youth involved, so maybe have youth make a 1-foot model, kind of thing, like a competition or something, just to bring more awareness, and the demographics too. We can get the next crop of sculptors.
But that's interesting because schools are eligible for these funds, so I'm sure they have some money for arts. They could say we're putting in $500 for this youth initiative. We'll give them another $500. So that'd be a great way to promote the GBPAC and to just make public art happen at the youth level, to work with schools. Any other comments? I mean, the one thing that I would say is that yes, we are looking to convert this program into 100% grants. I hope that's what I would like to see. But Laura has some great points about why we keep it. Do you guys have any comments over here?
It's very typical that in a grant cycle that there's some sort of match, whether it's in
Match, yeah.
kind. And so I think from that process, it's I don't know if you would agree with that, but it's something that we're used to doing all the time.
In schools and organizations and artists, it's good to be consistent,
Yeah.
and especially if you're brand new, to put in that foundation, because if you do 100% grants
Yeah.
right now, and then later you're like, we have no money, let's do 50%,
Yeah.
you're not gonna make
It's
a
not
lot
gonna
of
be-
people happy.
Okay. That's a
it-
good point too. Yes.
So marketing, yes, don't change anything, be consistent
Okay.
now.
Okay. So I guess we won't take any action at this point with this, but now we have closure kind of on what we were talking about. Maybe we'll refer to this reevaluation on a future date, when we have got, when our pockets are filled.
So should we table this or receive and place on file or?
I guess either one. I don't really know the difference, to be honest.
Well, if we're gonna, do we wanna bring it back?
Yes, we want to reevaluate this down the road, I think so.
How far down the road do you think? Table it for 6 months, a
I
year?
think it's gonna be long.
Year?
A year, if
at
not
least.
more.
Then we can.
So do we even need to, I mean, table that long is almost, so just receive and place on file, we just
I
make a
think
new
so.
communication, so
Okay.
make a motion to receive and place on file.
Right, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're gonna place that baby on file. Number 4, referring back to March 28th meeting, presentation a presentation of the Green Bay Public Arts Commission draft application for the Green Bay Packers Foundation grant.
Oh, okay, so, the attachment they have there is my draft of the application. So, I know it needs to be fleshed out a lot more, but basically, the overall aspect of what I have done for that grant, the grant dollars are only available for programming, so I decided to put it towards the rotating arts program. What I'm basically requesting for that program is ideally for like the next year to request 4 additional pads, so we'll have 10 pads total, and then also the amount for all of 10 artists.
$500.
Artist stipends. So that's how I got to that figure as far as what we're requesting. And at this point, I just have to add more details into the program. And I guess if there's anything that you had noticed going through that you think I really should be including in there, or things that I should take out, let me know now while it's still in work phase, because it's due the 1st of June.
So,
From what I've seen, it looks pretty, thank you for doing that.
Mhm.
I think you're there.
I have a question. Who's the 3 part-time staff? I counted that as 3 part-time staff? Well, me, and then also, I just counted Cheryl and Celestine since they're my supervisors, so they take time out of their schedules. But I don't know. It's not enough to be considered part-time, I guess. Yeah. I didn't know how to handle that, because it's one of those tricky parts.
So they do work on the GBPAC.
Yeah. And then I
It's part of
counted
their
you
job
guys
duties
as.
assigned, not their job.
I'm sorry, what?
It's their job duties as assigned in a position description, I'm assuming but not necessarily their sole function.
Yeah.
So would you say that is inaccurate, and we should have that 1?
I would do 1 since Laura's doing the work.
I would
But,
agree.
okay. We're not, okay.
Should I move them into the volunteer
I think
category?
potentially, I can look back at the narrative, you could,
Yeah, that is interesting. How would you?
are they critical to the grant application? Are they they're not asking for bios,
No.
so I don't
That's
think that's.
I mean, that section where you fill it in, that's the only part where it requests.
They're not asking
Who's
for an
involved?
explanation, I would just put 1.
Okay.
I'm also curious about, is there like a definition for, I mean, the question is how many people does the organization serve per year?
That I didn't know either, because at one point it asked how many it directly serves, which directly would be the artists, but art.
Serves the entire population?
That's just it. I mean, someone can be walking by and be directly affected by a piece, and we're not gonna know. So, that number I wasn't sure of either.
You're talking about how many people does the organization serve per year?
I mean, we serve we are an entity of the city, so I would say we serve the entire city, so
Mhm.
our population. That'd be the argument that I would make. and our primary population served by the organization is probably, if we can check multiple boxes, I would do children 0 to 17 and adults 18 and over, or maybe all of them with the exclusion of animals, maybe.
Oh, animals?
Yeah, do animals appreciate art? That's good, not go down that
That's a
road.
scientific question. Yeah,
We are animals.
I don't know. And I think our primary funding source at this point in time is probably grant money, because we haven't really fundraised at all yet.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the future that will change, shift over.
Yeah, I concur with the organization serve the people and with the population.
And maybe we can take this conversation after the meeting, but the administration, is it really 50%?
I mean, evaluating our current
Okay.
status, yes, but projecting to increasing these pads, then it's more of a opposite, basically.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we'd love to see programming be above 50.
Absolutely.
That would make it a stronger application.
Yep. That was exactly it. When I filled it, I'm like, ooh, but numbers don't lie currently.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
This is good.
Yeah, I'm really glad we're moving forward on this one. I think this is probably a little bit lower hanging fruit than some of the other applications that are out there.
Mhm.
This is more localized. So yeah, these are exactly the kinds of dollars we should be going after.
And we can review this further and then contact Laura with any other suggestions that we have to augment this or to amend it. But, you know, with those changes that we just talked about it, and with what you've already done, I think it looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We got a strong case here. Any other comments on this item? Okay. Then we'll go into informational. Chairman's
Do we need to
report.
make a motion on that?
Well, it's not discussion with possible action, it's just presentation.
Okay.
So I don't think so.
Just,
No. Keep doing it. It should work.
Good job.
Chairman's report. So I'd like to echo the things that Ned was saying about the application process. And I sent in an application just to try it out, and mine worked. I know I was doing it from Chrome browser. There was a few things where if I was, not computer savvy, would have, blocked me up. I think maybe, and we did this once a long time ago, like I think over a year ago. Can we all just try to fill in, we can test application will be the title, but I want us all to go ahead and fill out an annual grants application and a rotating arts application with your name, and you can make whatever project you want up, but just the title would be test application, because I want us all to experience what it's like to go through those tests, because it does seem like we can make it more streamlined. Specifically because we don't want the application to be an impediment. If someone has an idea, then they should hopefully just get that to us as easily as possible. And I'm wondering, to get them here talking about their project, if we even need an application, or if it can just be like an idea.
Do an application, otherwise you're gonna get a budget flop.
That's true.
I could see, instead of having an online form for this application, since the rotating art doesn't have as intensive an application, that they could email me the materials. Because that would be, everyone knows email, you know how to put an attachment.
Okay.
As long as I can add it to the guidelines,
Okay.
list out part A, give me your bio, B, give me a description of the piece, C, attach photos.
Yeah.
I think we could move towards that for this program. For the annual grants program, that application is intense.
Yeah. The budget area alone is like 10 steps or something, you know?
There's a lot to fill in for the budget, but it's an important part of reviewing it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like we could like just. So is
Make some
everyone
budget
familiar with
cuts. Make some budget cuts.
So let's see.
I guess, are we okay taking the rotating art program from the application to just an email submission?
That's what I do with my grant programs, and
I think
it's,
this isn't that intensive a thing, I think it would work for that.
So we're not eliminating, we're just adding.
We're just altering how people can
Yeah.
apply.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Is that more work for you, or is that? No.
I get an email either way, it's just automated or, but this way at least then I can be in communication, because with Ned, Kent had brought it up and then all of a sudden I was waiting on this application, whereas I think if it's through email, they'll feel more at ease, they can start a conversation with me, I'm a person, and you can just help them through it. So I think email application for rotating arts would be beneficial.
Okay. So then, for the annual grants program, it's not letting me go to the website, I don't know. But there is, the budget area is itemized into like 10 different sections, like how much money is going towards materials, how much money is going towards like, music. I don't know if music is one, but it's itemized pretty strictly, and I'm wondering if we can just put in how much is gonna be going in to the project and how much is going out. And then, like, do we really need to know all the other stuff, or do we just need to know the money coming in, money going out? Because
I'd have to look back through that, it's been a while since I've looked at it.
In-kind expenses, supplies, materials, publicity, postage, service fees, rentals, honorary personnel, travel expenses, in-kind contribution, committed funds, donors or amounts, and anticipated funding, I'd keep that all.
You would keep that all, just like that? So if I'm coming to,
I would also wanna know when you have publicity and you have it stated, is it on the rotating or the annual?
I think it's on both of them.
That both of them, if you receive money that you get, you know, your name dropped on all publicity, I would wanna know exactly what that publicity is, so then you can keep an eye for it, to see if it actually happens.
so is there an option on there to opt out? Like, say you're not getting any money for rental stuff? Is
Then
there?
you don't put anything there.
But is there an option that says NA or?
No, you would just put an NA, and
Okay.
leave it blank.
But to me, sometimes those forms, like,
I can include like a little blurb in there that says if the category doesn't apply to your project, just put NA.
I think that would be helpful, yeah. And you think this is like absolutely necessary that we have those itemized?
It's
That
Yeah.
application is basically copied from the Madison
That's right.
program.
Yeah,
And I think because the annual grants, because it's such a broad, it can be sculpture, it can be a poetry slam, it can be whatever you want, basically. I think because it's so broad, you need all those categories just to
okay.
kind of hone in on what they're actually doing with the money.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Then my chairman's report is done. Coordinator's report?
Do we need to receive and place your coordinator report or your report?
I don't think so.
No, you never did in the past.
No.
Timmy said we have to.
We have to?
She
So,
said that we're
I'll
not
make a
doing it,
motion
we
to
gotta
receive
keep
and
up.
place on file.
And,
What is it director did?
Receive and places, report on file.
Oh,
but we're gonna, okay. But we did make some changes.
I think that's just for staff.
yeah, it's just, staff will
Staff.
take those, yeah, we didn't have to
Okay, yep. So you made the motion.
receive and place, yep.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
sure,
No
of
problem.
course.
I was like, I need to do that.
Coordinator's report.
All right. So fundraising, as Cheryl said before, we're really gotta hone in on that. Kent and I just met with the fundraising cabinet yesterday. And I've been meeting with a few people, kind of getting advice and guidelines set up. But we need more people on our cabinet. We're searching for more people, but if you guys know of people, please, please, please send them our way. And I wanted to talk to you guys. I don't have all of my kind of strategic plan and everything set just yet, but once I get it, I'd like to talk with you both. Maybe just sometime to review it and help give me advice on it. Something else about fundraising. Yeah. We were talking, Brian said that we should keep our fundraising amount the same that we were talking about before, the 300,000. Go big or go home.
We're gonna push back the deadline. Or the
Yeah,
starting.
that was it too. So, working on all of this, he's thinking, so we're kind of
And
in
Wendy
our
also had the idea.
starting phase, but going public more towards September. When people are planning their budgets and figuring out where they're at before the end of the financial year. Excited for fundraising or forgetting it?
Yeah, well, hopefully we're gonna have like we'd like to have 50% before we went public with this campaign, but we don't know if we're gonna get that by September. We're gonna have some funds hopefully by then, through some grants and through some internal work that we're kind of doing. But the idea is to go public once we have a pretty good start. So that's kind of, any thoughts on that? Timeline or?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, sounds really good. I think we should probably have a two-pronged approach to finding more revenue. Fundraising, yes, and then also maybe the 1% program or some other sustainable way to capture some funds.
Did Brian contact you yet?
No.
Okay, well, we can talk after.
Okay. So I'll work on that.
Stacy, looks like you want to say something.
So you have all your fundraising materials ready to go? You have everything planned out for the folks to start fundraising prior to September?
No, I have to finalize it all, because then I was gonna run it by you guys.
Okay. So in September, I would have all your materials done way before. So when it is giving, you have everything else. We'll talk later.
Okay,
We'll talk later.
you guys can have a chat.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. In addition to fundraising, we had talked at our fundraising cabinet meeting, the GBPAC doesn't have a art plan for the city.
Strategic plan, right?
Yeah, a strategic art plan for the city. So we don't have anything, we have our programming set up, we have our mission, we have our vision, all of that. But we don't have kind of a vision of like our 3 or 5 year goals going forward. And I shared some examples with Kent. They're really creative, beautiful setup documents, basically outlaying where we're at and where we want to take the city. It helps people visualize what our idea is. It's one thing to say, we want public art, we want sculptures and things like that, but it's really helpful to have those images and kind of other examples to help show people where you're kind of planning on going. So
The National Endowment for the Arts has a grant program for planning, and we should absolutely go after those dollars.
Do we have a list of all the grants that we're eligible for and like how it could help the GBPAC potentially? Like the Our Town came up. The endowment has probably more than one that we'd be eligible to receive funds.
I've been sorting through lists of foundations to see what they have available. So I have
Okay.
a small.
Yeah.
I think having a plan in place will make us far more likely to secure grant dollars, especially at the federal level. If we have a federally funded planning grant, that will just put us one notch above all the other guys who don't have that federally funded plan to get those federal dollars.
So what would a 3 and a 5 year look like? I mean, what, just the,
Spitball.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the commission,
Sure.
so, you know, that's where,
I
you
would
know.
say it's more of a brainstorming. I think we would have to kind of decide where we want to see Green Bay. I know for me, personally, I would love to see our programming grow, have our grants be larger amounts for our grants. And then also expanding on our programming. I'd love to see us have like a maintenance budget set up, so that way art that we already have, we can help kind of fix up 1 or 2 pieces every year. And then also having a section where we fund like one major piece every year that's permanent or something like that. I could see things like that, or even having like a community, I saw one commission, they have a community art wall where every year they put up just these blank kind of plywood mural and people can come and add stuff to it, and it's open to the community to change every year. I think there's a lot of ways that we could grow, and it's always good to have goals going forward. It's just what we want it to be, I guess.
So, what, we provide 2 different programs, and we play a role in administration and goings-on of the city. We wear 2 different hats, really. Could we be more helpful to other 501c3s that are arts-related, like funding more money towards Mosaic, or leveraging things that they're doing, you know, the museum, these other entities that are already existing? How can we help leverage their efforts to public art? Like, is that a role that we want to take on? Like, I think our strategic plan should involve those things, and how the GBPAC is going to affect city planning. You know, more development in this idea of a % for the arts. So these like bigger picture stuff, I think maybe we should consider, and then we'll put it on the agenda and we'll have an actual discussion with action on it down the road. But I think, you know, we need to really start thinking what we want this thing to look like, assuming that we do a bang-up job on our fundraising, we're able to stay around for a long time, which is what I'm assuming. Big picture stuff.
So yeah, I think that's just something to think about down the road. Like Ken said, fundraising is number 1 right now.
Well, wouldn't we, why down the road as far as development making a contribution? I mean, that would be fundraising, wouldn't it, when that?
You have to have financial, stability first.
Yeah, why not,
That's like goal number 1, financial stability.
why don't we jump on that right away? Why don't we start bring that to the council? Well, let's talk to the ED staff and say, what do you think of adding a provision that, you know, for each development, what percentage were we talking?
1.
1?
Yeah, so we have just started the conversation about % for the arts, but we want to make sure that that approach is like solidified very, very well before we make that actual communication.
I don't know what you mean by solidified. I mean,
Well, so if bring to the council, you know, poorly thought out plan of % for the arts, it's gonna taint the whole potential for a % for the arts program. So we're working on that now, and we definitely will be taking action on that at some point. But we're gonna make sure that when we bring it to the table, it's gonna be like a really, really good idea that's been thought out, and that,
We kind of just have to get the facts and numbers and other examples gathered up, just to prove. 'Cause,
yeah.
I mean, everyone here knows that art is important and we want to have a creative
working-
community,
we're working
but
on
there
it.
are some people who it's hard to say, oh, you're going to take 1% for art when we could use it for, I don't know,
Whatever.
more
Roads.
important. Yeah, roads or
Yeah.
things
Lead
that,
pipes.
yeah. So we
let's
just
not
need-
go down that road.
Yeah, we just need to get those numbers set up.
Go down that road.
Have our argument be strong. It is. Also, wrap pads. I just got an email from Jamie today. I'm gonna be going out, to Lights Park actually to finalize the location for that one, but those are being poured this week. So,
Yes.
How many, so 5 or 6?
6. Now that we have light approved, or at
Okay.
least once we go out there and I see it today,
Okay.
that'll be 6.
Okay.
That's good.
Take pictures.
Yeah. And then also, I got invited to a how-to event on June 2nd at the Brown County Library. Basically, I'll be there for like an hour on June 2nd, presenting about public art and how to apply for our programs. So, if anyone would like to come and join me and talk a little bit about that, you are more than welcome to, and I can give you more information on that.
Great.
Will you email it to us?
Yeah, I can email you guys.
That'd be great.
It's just a small presentation at the library. They're doing kind of a how-to fest, so they
Is it the
have.
central library, the one downtown?
Yeah, just over there.
Are they recording it?
Then I don't know.
Maybe we
They have
should.
multiple things going on. There's like how to clean a fish, how to fertilize a garden, how to.
Wow.
Clean a fish.
Yeah, they got like a lot of interesting stuff going on. So
It might be good to just record that so we can pop it up on our
Be very
website.
That'd be
You know,
awesome.
yeah,
this is how you do it. Some people don't like to read; they just want to watch something on YouTube.
yeah.
So,
What? Don't like to
I'll-
read.
yeah.
I'll send you guys the information on that, and then.
Okay.
Can you receive and place my file?
Oh, motion to receive and place.
Motion
on
to
file.
receive and place on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good.
Alright, last thing, our next meeting is gonna be June 27th, 8 AM in the same room,
Okay.
as far as I know, because I don't think remodeling is done yet.
Okay. Okay. So where will our be after this? 310
After June, in August, I think we're gonna be back up.
on the sixth floor.
I think,
Okay.
depending on how it all goes.
Public hearings?
Nothing.
Nothing. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. How do I get next meeting for the good of the order? Like, is that a thing?